It is time!
It is time. We are live.
Hello, campers, satyrs, gods, goddesses, nymphs, whatever you may be. Welcome to month 3.
That's 6.
That's 6. Month 3 of the Riordanalong live shows. I don't know why I'm doing the intro. This isn't my channel.
You do it better than I do.
This month we're going to be talking about the Titan's Curse, and I'm very excited. We apologize that this live was a little bit late. We had some stuff come up that we just needed to take care of, and that was kind of our priority.
Yeah, so we pushed it back, but we are here, and we are very excited to talk about the book.
Yes, talk about it with us, tell us your thoughts, ask us questions, and
just a reminder, no spoilers for future books. If you spoil something, I will not hesitate to mute you and make it so you can't comment for the rest of the live, because spoilers are not fun.
You do it 3 times, you get banned. We don't do spoilers here.
Yeah, no spoilers. Like at most you can say, of like, oh, because of this incident, I'm excited to see something that happens in a future book, but literally like that. That's the kind of spoilers.
We must keep things non-spoilery for future campers. So it's important that we don't spoil things, that we can make sure that everything is...
And if you think that we accidentally spoiled something, feel free to yell at us in the comments.
Yes.
But there will be spoilers for the books in this series up until this point. Anything beyond that?
Yes.
No spoilers.
So The Lightning Thief, Sea of Monsters, and The Titan's Curse, there will be spoilers, but there will not be spoilers past The Titan's Curse.
My phone decided to turn on the flashlight instead of clicking the notes.
Well,
hello, Cool Gamer. Thank you so much for joining us.
Is that someone we know? Because they're on every live I've ever been on. I see you everywhere.
Well, thank you for joining anyways.
Exactly. Thank you for being one of our viewers. Are you okay?
Drop the phone.
Oh. Yeah, that'll do it.
Drop the phone without a phone case on it.
By the way, the link to the Twitter, the Discord, my channel, and anything else will be linked down in the description below.
Not me just having to quickly grab that because I forgot to add that to this.
Yep. Oops. Wait, what did you forget?
I forgot to make a description for this.
You're going to have to put the description in through YouTube. You can't do it through StreamYard.
Oh, yeah, I'm doing that right now.
Okay. I have thoughts. I have no...
Okay, you explain the explanation while I update the description.
All right.
I forgot to do that.
So, The Titan's Curse is book 3 in the Percy Jackson and the Olympian series by Rick Riordan. In this book, we are following Percy as he's turning 14 and following the events of the Sea of Monsters, where we learn that Talia is back, and we kind of see her character development in this book. But anyways, back to the explanation. A group of them are helping Grover. So Annabeth, Talia, and Percy are helping Grover get two half-bloods to camp safely. And of course, something goes wrong and Annabeth winds up missing. So they end up going on a quest to find her and a missing goddess. So I'm very excited to discuss this, and I'm ready.
Okay. So I guess the first talking point, I can't speak apparently, is just generalized thoughts and rating.
I haven't had time to sit down and rate this because I literally just finished it, but I like it. It's probably one of my favorites in this series. So I'm probably going to give it like a 4.5 stars. There were some things that bugged me, but the things that bugged me were things that bugged me when I was a kid. And now that I'm an adult, I kind of understand why. Because like when you're a teenager, you don't understand like some of the choices that other people make. You're like, oh, why would you do that? And then you live life, and you're like, oh, that makes sense. I
Yes.
feel salty about it for the sake of my 13-year-old self.
I definitely get that. I gave it 4 stars. I honestly think like all the books in this series will be 4 stars because like I really enjoyed them, but like that's all. Like I really enjoyed this. It was really fun to reread it, especially to reread it as like being older because it's been about 3 years since I've read this book, so I was almost reading it like fresh from my memory because I didn't remember a lot of the details. You'll notice that I'll say that for a lot of the lives because I'm a very forgetful person when it
Yes.
comes to details. Like the overarching plot I remembered, but there were some details that I forgot. Um, but in general, like we do an entire ranking thing at the end.
So you'll see where that
You'll
falls.
see where it falls, but definitely really enjoy this one.
All right.
So, do you want to just jump straight into? I feel like we could talk about the plot, but the plot a lot of the times involves certain characters. So, do you want to just jump into kind of characters? I always have talking points, but they
Sure.
always get changed each live. So that's why I'm like,
Sure. Did we get any comments?
not yet.
Okay.
Can we just quickly talk about the beginning of just okay? Can we talk about Bianca and Nico? Because
Yes.
they're like the new characters. There's other new
I have
characters, but
thoughts.
I have thoughts too.
So let's talk about Nico first, our angry little man.
Without
Very.
spoilers, he's one of my favorite characters of all of Rick Riordan's works that I've read so far.
I love him. I do. I love him a lot, but it's so hard to rank characters in this series because
Oh,
like it
that's why
depends on
we're
the book.
not ranking characters. I originally thought I was like ranking characters, but I'm like, no, we will spend 20 minutes arguing with ourselves about
Yup.
ranks.
But Nico, who he's I don't remember how old they said he was in the beginning
He's
of the book.
10, I think.
Oh, that's right. He's 10.
He's 10. So
And he very much
he's just a
acts
little child.
like a 10-year-old boy. And it's interesting for sure. As somebody who is an older sister with a younger brother, I have a similar age gap between Bianca and Nico, between me and my younger brother. And so it was just kind of it was interesting to see like, oh yeah, yeah, I would do that with my sibling. But the one thing I would not do is join the Hunters of Artemis if I was the only family my brother had left.
That is
And
one
while I
thing that
understand
pissed me off.
why Bianca did it, because she states like she doesn't want to feel like an older sister, I think that was worded a little bit weird because the way she said it, to me, it felt like she was saying like, "Oh, I don't want to be attached to Nico anymore." I think what she was trying to say was that she didn't want to be a mother, and again, that is a feeling that I relate to. So I can understand why, in her mind, joining the Hunters made sense. Because she was like, "Hey, if I do this, I don't have to parent my little brother anymore. I can do my own thing." Because again,
And
she
Bianca knows that Nico will be safe at Camp Half
theoretically,
Blood.
yes.
Like she thinks like, oh well, there's this place that will take care of him. I can go and do my own thing that I want to do. But also, it's like as somebody who doesn't have any younger as somebody who didn't grow up with siblings at all, is I can almost see it as like as an only child. Basically, is I feel like her action is almost selfish. but
It is, and
because
she
I don't,
acknowledges that.
yeah, she acknowledges that, which it is selfish because she put herself before thinking of like her younger brother, but also is like she's allowed to have her own life, and she feels like she hasn't up until this point. It's always been her and Nico, not her doing her own thing.
Yeah. So there's that. Nico, I think, is a very interesting character, and his development throughout the whole Riordan verse is very interesting to me. But just because, like, at the beginning of this book, he starts like being like, "Holy shit, this is so cool!" Like,
He's amazed that all of these
these
things that
gods
he
are
thought
real.
was just myth are real, and he is a part of it, and he's just wowed. But then, without spoiling for futures, is as you see him grow,
Well, but
these,
even in this book, when Percy comes back at the end and he has to tell Nico
yeah,
that Anna, that not Anna, Bianca didn't come back, that's when Nico was like, "Oh,
this
this shit's
world,
real.
this world isn't what I thought. This is real. There
This
is
isn't
consequences.
this isn't my Myth of Magic game." Side note, that would be a very dope game to actually like have. It's like a mix of Magic the Gathering and Dungeons and Dragons.
You would spend way too much money on it.
I would spend so much money on that.
You would help fund it.
I would help fund that game if I could. Um, and it's interesting to see his reaction because he goes through the stages of grief. That's not a spoiler because obviously his sister
Yeah,
dies,
you see the start of it
and
in this book.
you see him in the like, speaking from experience, the stages of grief are not a line like people say that it is. It is a ball of yarn. You start somewhere else, but the more you pull at it, the more you see like it's like a multicolored yarn. Like you have one color, but then eventually you get back to that color until you're at the end of the ball of yarn. And we see him, and everybody starts at different places. And so he starts with the anger stage because while he like while he understands like the concept of death and knowing that his sister is gone and isn't coming back, he doesn't really understand that there was nothing that anybody could have done to stop her from sacrificing herself the way that she did. And so he's angry. He's angry with obviously he puts his anger onto Percy because he doesn't really understand that he's angry at Bianca at this time, because like it's completely normal to be angry at the person who died because you're like, what, why did you leave me here? And so that's he's like, well, why would she leave me? Why would she sacrifice herself knowing that I'm still here? But he doesn't process that that's what he's feeling. So he's like, I'm mad at Percy because he promised that he would protect her, but he didn't. Therefore, he's a liar.
And the thing is Percy made that promise being unsure if he could fulfill that promise. He just
Yes,
promised
and
Nico to
he
just
even
not to like shut
says
Nico up, but just to be like, you need to stay here. I'll go. I'll keep your sister
he
safe.
even says
And the thing is, in that case of like Percy being like, I will keep Bianca safe, is the thing is
he said
you
he
can
will
never make
try
that
his
promise.
best.
Exactly. And Nico interpreted that as will keep her safe. Not try best, but
Will, yes.
yeah. Um
I'm saying
other
will. If you know, you know.
If you know, you know. I was trying not to laugh if
So
you
other
wanted.
characters, we get to see a little bit more of Miss Jackson, and
We
I
love
love her.
her.
She, you'd think that like as a mom, she'd be like, "No, you can't break the rule." She's like, "I didn't see nothing."
She's like, I didn't see nothing. And also at the beginning of how
She's
she's like, are
literally
you
just
sure
like,
you don't want me to wait? That's literally a quote from the thing of like,
it's like on page what 9 or
it's like,
something.
yeah, it's like, well, no, on page 2, she literally goes, all right, dears, do you have everything you need? Yes, Miss Jackson, Thalia said, thanks for the ride. Extra sweaters, you need my cell phone number? Mom! It's literally on page 2. She's just like, you need extra sweaters, you need my phone number, do you need me to stay just in case you need a ride home? Like,
Oh, I just realized I have a first edition paperback.
nice.
Anyways, so and we see her kind of not necessarily growing, but we're like getting more peeks into her life with Mr. Blowfish or Blowfish, but
It will be Blowfish. That's the
we
only
will
thing we will
call
call him.
Blowfish. And I love I love Paul as a character. You get to know him, and he's great. And Sally is interesting, but when Percy is Iris messaging from Olympus after the quest is done, and he sees his mom sitting there with this guy, um, his first question isn't like, "What the hell is going on?" It's like Sally starts trying to come up with with an excuse, like, "Oh, we're just doing homework," and Percy's like, "Are
He's
you
just like,
happy?"
sure, that's definitely what you're doing.
And he just flat out goes, "Are you happy?" And she says yes, and he's like, "Okay, cool, I'll see you for Christmas," basically.
Yeah, and that also shows him, like Percy, maturing and realizing that it's okay.
Stupid.
Was that like your
That was my home. Yes.
okay? I like was like,
I
what?
don't want to say its name because otherwise it'll start talking again.
Yeah.
But I can't unplug it because it's the only way I can hear the doorbell.
Ah. But that is almost Percy showing that he's matured and he's like okay with his mom dating, and
Yeah.
it's like it's him maturing because 12-year-old him would have been
Probably
absolute
not as okay with
would
it.
have been like no, you're my mom, I'm the only person that you care about.
Yeah. Speaking of parents, I want to talk about Dr. Chase. I love that man. He literally just
Him
shows up
just
at the
saving the day.
he just shows up at the end with
I literally that is one thing I
celestial bronze
forgot.
bullets that he made. Because he's just like, I don't know, I wanted to see what would happen. Like, I don't know. And then he starts firing them, and it's like, oh, they do something. And he
And
kind of
also,
goes a little bit maniac.
yeah, and also
It's
seeing Mr.
great.
Chase is like you see him um as himself versus from how Annabeth views him. Like you don't you get what I'm saying, of like Annabeth has a
Yes.
view of her father, and
Which
it is different than how
is
he actually is through the eyes of Percy.
changing. Annabeth's perspective is changing, and you see that in this book. We probably won't talk about Annabeth very much because she isn't in the book for very long.
Yeah.
Um, so, but I wanna talk about so many characters. Since we're talking about parents, we'll go ahead. And we met some more of the gods. In this book, we meet Aphrodite for the first time, Artemis. We see
Apollo.
Hera and Demeter, and
Apollo.
Apollo. We spend the most time with Artemis, which makes sense because the hunters of our hunters of Artemis end up popping up. And I liked that. Apollo we don't really see much of, and Aphrodite has one conversation with Percy, and it's basically just like, by the way, you're in love with your best friend. Okay, bye.
Yeah, and him just being like, I'm sorry, what now?
And then Ares is, of course, Ares.
Yeah. Don't feel like we don't need to talk about him that much.
No. But speaking about the gods and the hunters of Artemis, I want to talk about Zoe Nightshade because I love her. And I have a funny story about Zoe. Okay. So I have been part of the Percy Jackson fandom since 2012. I first read this series when I was 12 years old. I turned 22 in like 2 weeks. So love I love the series. It's like my favorite thing. Clearly. And so when I first got social media, I made book content on Instagram. Very few of those, actually, none of my original posts from this time period are still active. Actually, I think I archived some of them so I can pull them up.
Oh, dear Lord.
And I'm talking like these are old. And so I don't know. I don't think you were on social media at this point because you were 6. No, 7, 8. How the fuck?
9, 8.
You were young.
I was a child.
You were young. So I had social media and I met a group of people and we kind of did like a role play thing of like each of us were assigned different Percy Jackson characters, and I was assigned Zoe Nightshade. And I had the time of my life with that group of people. They were my first group of internet friends. I actively went to go visit one of them a while ago, and I don't really talk to them that much anymore, but I still see them on like social media sometimes. I'm like, wow, you have grown a lot since we were pretending to be fictional demigods on Instagram.
Wow.
And it's
You're just like, they've changed so much and you're sitting here talking about the series on YouTube Live.
Let me see if I think I have posted I was tagged in from that long ago.
Wow.
Oh yeah, I do. Let me see if I can pull up.
Well, while you're doing that, I don't think I have that many thoughts on Zoe, except
Here's some of the people in the group. I don't even think any of these accounts are still. Oh my god, some of them are still active.
Oh my god.
I am requesting to follow all of these accounts again.
Oh my gosh. But like, I don't really have that many thoughts on Zoe, except she was a good character who, I don't want to say served her purpose, but it with her.
I'm sorry, I'm laughing. I totally forgot that we had a bold Dionysus. I'm crying.
But I feel like with Zoe she's the exact type of person that you would think would be Artemis's first lieutenant is the term, right? I finished this book today, yeah. But like she feels like that character, and I feel like Rick did a good job at making this like character feel realistic, and that her ultimate ending definitely like emotionally impacts you.
Yeah, for sure. And
You're not distracted with Instagram.
no, I'm trying to see if I can find. I don't think I have anything that I posted. Um, I think I have screenshots at one point. Oh, here's here's an example. There we go. That was
Oh.
my account right there. And here's another example of some of our DMs. Um, so
Gosh.
if any of you in the Bold fam happen to be watching this, please, um, reach out to me because I want to hear how all of you are doing. Like,
Yeah. I'm trying to think, are there any other characters that we need to talk about? Like, well, obviously there's more characters, but it's more of do we have thoughts on the characters?
I have. I'm trying to think if there's anybody I have.
Well, obviously, Thalia, is that how we're pronouncing it?
Yes.
Okay. Obviously, Thalia. We see her, we get to know more about her as we're interacting with her. And ultimately, her joining the Hunters of Artemis to postpone the prophecy.
Yep.
That was definitely a courageous thing for
I
her
like
to
that.
do, of being like, I don't want this to happen. I don't want to be the one involved in this. Peace out. It was selfish, but also it's also like she knew that nobody was prepared for this. She knew that if it were to happen
I
the
mean, she's
next
been a
day,
tree for 7 years.
exactly. So her like joining the Hunters of Artemis was something that was kind of brave of her, because of it was equally brave and equally selfish.
Exactly.
And I love that, of how it's like, depending on how you view it, you might lean more towards the selfish, you might lean more towards the it was a brave thing to do.
For sure. Yeah.
mm, I'm trying to think, because like Percy, i I don't feel like there's much to talk about him besides what we've already talked about.
Yeah.
He speaks to his dad for the first time in like like almost 2 years.
Something like that.
But I feel like, ooh, there's a character that I want to briefly talk about, but we'll talk about that more because it's at a specific location. Um, but do you want to go into, as I call it, scenes, locations / monsters? Just
Yeah.
kind of talk about that type of stuff of like,
Actually, I forgot one character we needed to talk about. Mr. Grover Underwood. I can't
true.
believe we forgot about our satyr boy. Literally, Grover is amazing. And just how passionate he is about finding Pan, is really, really cool, or like admirable, I think is what I'm trying to say. Because
Yeah.
he's just like, I'm going to be the one that fucking does. I'm going to be the one that fucking finds him, and nobody's going to tell me that I can't.
Yeah, he's like, even if you try, I'm not gonna listen. I'm gonna do it. I'm gonna be the one that finds Pan.
And
It is his only life dream, basically.
and
And
nobody
he
has the heart
sticks
to
to
say
it.
like, dude, you're not going to do it. Because everybody has that little sliver of hope that he will find.
Yep.
That he will find Pan.
Mm-hmm. But back to the scenes, locations, and monsters.
I don't really have much to say about the monsters. We didn't really meet
Yeah,
any
we
new
have
ones other
the
than the
only.
Manticore.
Yeah,
And he wasn't a Manticore very often. He was mostly just a dude.
yeah, and
Um,
then I guess you can also be like, the skeletons aren't really monsters, but they are kind of a block in like the character's path. And I do find
yeah.
the skeletons kind of cool.
Oh, I think I know what character you're talking about. No.
Yeah, that certain character. Um,
Miss Rachel Elizabeth Dare, who we meet for the
yes,
first
first
time
time.
at the Hoover Dam.
I honestly forgot we met her at the Hoover Dam. I
Same.
don't
I
know why.
think we met her in the next book, but we.
Exactly.
I think the next book is when she does the
the, the
thing.
the thing, yeah. But like, it's without spoiling, but it's foreshadowing because we meet her, and
She can
she
see
can
through the
see
mist.
she can see through the mist. Why is that?
And we also learn that Sally has that ability as well.
Yes,
Um,
but I feel like that is Sally being able to see through the mist is more purposeful because of like, oh, she has a child that's a demigod. Maybe that's a thing that was like the ability to see through the mist was quote unquote gifted to her.
I don't
So
think she was gifted with it.
well,
I think
well,
that it
no,
was
like
an innate thing
yeah, but
because
like
of things
because
that
she
happen in
yeah,
future
like
books.
because she has a child that's a demigod, it makes sense. But obviously, not all parents of demigods have that. But
Yeah.
you get what I'm kind of saying.
Uh,
But like, I love the entire Hoover Dam thing, especially Percy running through the building, basically being like, where is the snack bar?
don't tell me where is the damn snack bar.
I literally was laughing at them doing like the where's the damn
It's
snack bar?
it's one of my favorite moments in the series because of where it happens. It happens after they lose Bianca, like right after that.
It's like the
And they're like coping, but
laugh.
they end up laughing in the middle of this. And they're like, I don't understand.
And
Or
then the
Zoe,
food
poor Zoe's over there, like, I don't understand what's so funny.
and
I don't
yeah,
understand
and
what. And I
also
also like
like
how she mentions that the English language changes too often, and she's like, I
that
can never keep up. And I'm like, I do not blame you.
I don't blame her, and I like how that was brought up because she is what over 2,000 years old. I think she's old, um,
Yeah.
and so it's like kind of
Well, she's
even
old
just
enough to remember the Titans.
exactly. Well, it says I think like oh like she's at least 2,000 years old, if not older, type thing.
Yeah.
But the way that she constantly is like, well, it's mainly like she says something and then somebody tries to correct her and she's just like, no,
Yeah.
no, you're wrong, I'm right. Move it. Let's move on.
Yeah.
Can we just talk about how when Percy finds a group and is like, we have to go, Grover's like, but the burrito just got here.
Me.
And then the food fight in the cat in the snack bar
Uh,
of the dam.
death, death by burrito.
I mean, that is definitely one good way to die.
Yep,
Yeah.
for sure. Um, yes. Okay. Is there anything? Any comments? Nope.
Nope.
Is anybody even watching?
There's one person.
And that one person is you.
No, I closed the tab.
Oh, okay, yay!
It doesn't. If I have the tab open, it doesn't count because it's my channel.
Oh. Well, I don't have the tab open. So. Anyways,
One person watching. Thank you for listening to us ramble.
yes. What is the next?
Well, any other scenes, location, monsters, just anything. Any random scene or random line or anything like that. That's kind of random thoughts.
I mean, I have my notes, but those I was planning on saving for any extra notes, like as I do.
Okay, because really the only other thing that I have after the random is just the rankings.
This one for me goes in between. So it's the Lightning Thief, the Titan's Curse, and then the Sea of Monsters.
Okay, that's the same with me. So far, we have the same order. And it's a Lucinda that is the one viewer. Thank you so much. I feel like there's more, but then also I'm just gonna quickly flip through the book and just see, because I didn't make any notes, but there might be moments that
I did.
Well, go through your notes.
So one of the things that I underlined was they're at the dance, and Percy has this thought. I put one hand on Annabeth's hip, and she clasped my other hand like she was about to judo throw me. If you know, you know. If you know, you know. I underlined that because that made me laugh.
And I love when they dance at the end of how Percy's like, I guess we should. I'm trying to find the exact.
He's like, I guess I owe you a dance, by the way.
Yeah, it's so cute.
Fucking nerd.
Lucinda says, I've already forgotten the details already, as it's basically been a month since I read it.
Yep.
That's understandable. I did enjoy it though. A solid 4 stars from me. Same.
And then I bracketed this little paragraph where Percy's talking about how he likes Talia, but he's kind of like resentful in a way because he's like, well, she's getting all this attention that I used to get. I'm used to this kind of attention. And I mean, for a 14-year-old boy, that's kind of a blow to the ego in a way.
Yeah. Can we also talk about Thalia and how she has the fear of heights and how it's like, of how, especially in the beginning, she's the one that has to essentially like drive them in the sky.
Oh, she doesn't have to. I mean,
well, she doesn't have to, but like she's pushed to do it, and that
older brother. It's just a fact.
Yeah, but of how she has that fear, and there's even the point where, originally they're suggesting walking down into the Hoover Dam, and the height, and Percy's just like, because he found out about this fear, and Percy's just like, how about let's not do that, without explicitly being like, haha, you know this person, I found something that they're scared of, let me exploit it to do it. He keeps that to himself, and I like that, because he's like, I wouldn't want my fear to be shared to everybody, so I'm going to keep this other person's fear a secret. And then that's one thing that stood out to me, of just like,
another thing I have underlined is, it's something that Dr. Thorne says, the Manticore, but I'm just going to call him Dr. Thorne because it just makes sense. I underlined the I hate middle school dances, and just next to it I just wrote same. Oh, I forgot to log. Yeah, I'll deal with that later.
Yeah.
And just flipping through the book. I put LOL nerd when Grover just like talks to Nico about myth and magic, literally just because Artemis is like, "Can you do it as a favor to me?" And he's like, "Yes, gladly."
Mm-hmm.
Um,
I also like the little appearances of Tyson when Percy Iris messages
I miss
him.
my boy.
I love those little moments, especially how um, towards the end Percy's Iris messaging Tyson, and Tyson's like, I'm gonna come visit you over like
And when Percy is like, "Dude,
summer.
like your shield, like it's totally destroyed," and Tyson gets excited. He's like, "Yes,
He's like, I fixed it.
it
I make a new one.
worked."
He's like, it worked.
He's like, "It
That
worked.
means
It
I'm
saved
good.
your life, and now I make it better."
Yeah, like he's so
Thank you.
happy, and it makes my heart happy to see something so simple make another person happy.
Yeah. I did take more notes, probably a little bit more towards the end. There wasn't much that I wanted to take note of in the middle. I didn't really have a lot of time to take notes of stuff in the middle because I was just sucked in, to be honest, and I didn't like
Yeah.
stop to think about anything that I wanted to underline
One
until.
thing that we haven't talked about is how Bianca and Nico were stuck in the Lotus Hotel for
Oh
for like
yeah,
decades.
that was an interesting little throwback.
Uh
Every
huh.
time I think of the Lotus Hotel and Casino, I only think of that one scene from.
Yeah, but I like how I I I like how it's hinted throughout, but you're not like you're kind of more of like, huh, what? And then when it's revealed at the end, you're like,
You're
oh
like,
my
oh
god,
shit.
oh that was foreshadowing for this. Oh, that makes a lot of
And then
sense.
it's like, and then you learn that you think, oh gosh, Hades broke the oath. Nope,
Nope.
the man did not break the oath.
He had his kids before the oath was made, so shockingly, he's
He had his kids
Hades,
before
the one that you would think would break the oath, but he's the one that didn't.
he
It was
had his
the
kids
other two.
before the oath was made, but after the war.
Yeah.
So I have, I I know what happens at the end of the series, but like it's a little bit sus to me that he lets them live. Anyways, before I go into spoiler territory, uh, when Percy meets Aphrodite, the little arrow to that line where he goes, "When she smiled at me, just for a moment, she looked a little like Annabeth." And just next to that arrow, I wrote, "Ooh," because we start to see
If you know, you know.
a little bit more of the Percy and Annabeth ship that some people had. I have, I have thoughts, and you will hear my thoughts when we continue to talk about this series.
I'm excited to hear those thoughts.
I, I can tell you after the live.
No, I want to save it for the live, for like the future live.
Okay. Flipping, seeing if I can.
Yeah, I don't really have anything that I noticed that popped out to me. I feel like. I guess the thing of knowing that they only have less than 2 years to prepare for everything.
That's a little stressful for sure.
That's you're almost like, oh god, no. Like imagine all that pressure of just like we have 2 years until not potential. I don't want to say potentially the end of the world, but that's what it would feel like to a lot
that's
of
technically
people.
what it is. It's
It
just
is.
the apocalypse.
Yeah.
As somebody who studies mythology in school and stuff, every religion has their myth about how the world is going to end, and it's briefly mentioned in here that it will that the end of the world will happen with the fall of the gods. I don't remember exactly what the myth is or what they say will happen, but yeah. Anyways, back to things that I underlined. Where did my pen go? because I didn't
No idea.
fully underline this quote. It is bothering me. Oh,
Found it.
I launched my pen.
Ah.
I underlined Zoe's final words, of course, because feelings.
Yep. That was honestly a moment that not that I forgot, but I forgot of how almost impactful it was, because I was just sitting there kind of like, oh my god, this is sadder than I remember. Oh my god.
And then the thing in Heroes of Olympus with you know who, when they say you know what, I'm just like, feelings. I hate them.
Nope, not thinking about that. We'll get to those feelings when we need to.
It's not gonna be for a little while, and I'm okay with that.
I know, that's why I'm like, we'll put it off.
The other thing I underlined was Artemis's words. Let the world honor you, my huntress. Live forever in the stars. I like that quote. It was nice.
Yeah, that really like wrenched my heart earlier. I was just
like, oh
no.
You can see how much Artemis cares about her huntresses and the people that work with her. Or she patrons. That was what I was looking for. Anyways, I also underlined I'm never too old for candy.
That is so true. Nobody is ever too old.
You are never too old for candy, and if you say you are, then you are a liar and a coward. And that's it. Those are all the notes that I took for Titan's Curse. I'm going to have a lot more notes for the Battle of the Labyrinth. And a lot of notes.
Honestly, it will just probably be just sitting here just listening to you for that, because that's I know some of your feelings, but not all.
I'm not gonna say anything else because I don't want to spoil things for other people as far as my feelings go.
So I think since we don't have any other thoughts and we've gone through our rankings, I think we'll end this here. So the next live shows will be in November for the Battle of the Labyrinth.
And we are adding in the Demigod Files as we've been trying to figure out where the companion novels fit in the series. And the Battle of the Labyrinth happens between, or Demigod Files, I'm sorry, happens between the Battle of the Labyrinth and the Last Olympian.
So that will be a extra live show. We need to figure out dates. Dates will be announced on the Discord and the Twitter. The links are in the description to those. We're kind of sorry for pushing this on last minute, but we decided this this morning.
Pretty much, yeah.
So we have about as much prep as you guys do.
You will not lose anything from the series if you choose not to read the Demigod Files or any of the other companion novels. You're not going to lose any context for the rest of the series.
It's more of extras if you really love the series and you want that extra content. And that's why we're making it a separate live show for if you're not interested. We're not pushing you to read it. If you don't read it, we're not going to judge. We just personally want to read it.
So, but yeah. I had a good time.
Yeah, I don't really think there's anything else to discuss. So thank you to everybody who joined the live and those that are watching back. I don't really think we have anything else to say. Anything you want to add?
Thanks for watching, everybody, and we look forward to seeing you guys next time.
Which will be on Morgan's channel, You're This Way.
Yes.
Yeah. So
it will be on my channel. The dates are subject to change. All of these lives are subject to change. While we may announce a specific date or time, that is not set in stone, as we have lives and my life at the moment is very hectic.
Yeah, especially with
family stuff, and I am in the process of moving, so I have to kind of be 50 different places at once. So again, all lives, and it's not just next month live. All future lives related to the Riordanalong are subject to change based on
Our availability.
our availability and
If
whether
we
or not
have guests, if they, because we
and
maybe for a future series might have guests, we haven't decided, but
whatever
whatever
we
reasons.
need. So we appreciate your patience with us today as the live was scheduled 2 hours later than it was originally supposed to be. Like I said, things were a little bit crazy. But yeah, thank you guys so much for watching.
Yeah, thank you, and bye.
Bye.
And end the broadcast.